Pollack, and I'm the Organizational Learning Advisor for USAID Uganda. Some of the ways which we've applied collaborating, learning, and adapting to our work in very concrete ways include shifting our portfolio reviews to be more learning focused. This past cycle, for example, we had a round of what we called field-based portfolio reviews, where we actually went to the field as a mission and cross-sector teams as well as with our partners, and had a series of learning guides with questions to really focus our attention on what are we learning and, of course, what should we do about it. Another example would be how we've reshaped our implementing partner meetings to be more of a roundtable discussion. Rather than the whole day being USAID talking at our partners, we try to ask our partners for ideas about what they want to learn, encourage peer-to-peer learning, and more of, again, a roundtable discussion. Another way in which we have implemented CLA within the mission would be an intense focus on building our monitoring and evaluation capacity so that not only do the mission staff have stronger skills in terms of looking at the data, doing the analysis, but also our partners have a stronger capacity in gathering that data and understanding and managing to it as well. We've also focused very specifically on tying our monitoring evaluation processes to learning, to make sure that anything we do within the monitoring and evaluation space takes into account how are we going to use this for learning, what are we going to do with it, not just the data for data's sake. I would say a third way in which we've applied this particular approach is to explicitly tie it to our organizational development efforts. For us, this has been through the Insights Discovery tool, which we've been using to build personal effectiveness, a specific focus on team building and relationships within the mission. What's worked particularly well for us when applying collaborating, learning, and adapting to our work is, one example would be with respect to our CDCS. It was very important in our experience and our journey with CLA that it was part of our first CDCS, which was approved in 2011. About 2 years after the approval of the CDCS, we went through what we called a stock-taking exercise, where we lived CLA and the living strategy experience by stopping, pausing, reflecting to capture what had changed, what had we learned, how had we shifted our approach to either external contextual shifts or to internal learning and adaptation along the way. It was an extremely useful experience for us, and now as we look ahead to what comes next, we have that body of knowledge and learning within the mission and to share with our partners. Another aspect of what's worked well for us with CLA is to ensure a certain degree of tailoring and flexibility. Rather than prescribing or dictating that CLA looks like research here and it looks like a specific learning approach there, we've allowed some interpretation within the implementing partners, within the portfolios within our technical teams. So our FTF team has interpreted and really taken on CLA in a different way than it might look like in a PEPFAR or in a health portfolio. I think finally, another aspect that's worked well for us is to begin to develop some tools and examples to share with one another to really let this be as much driven by the partners and those which are employing these techniques as it is a mandate from the mission. We don't have firm guidance, we don't have thou shalts. We do embed CLA within our awards, our contracts, cooperative agreements, and grants, but then we work hard with our partners to make sure that it's appropriately suited to what the program is all about. Like any mission, time is probably the biggest problem or the biggest challenge that we have. So what we've tried to do to address that is to limit the number of additive activities that represent CLA moments, so to speak, and really just try to shift something we're already doing. I mentioned the portfolio reviews, the IP meetings, those types of activities. We've tried to embed learning within our reporting requirements such that we're capturing things along the way rather than asking a lot more of our staff in particular and our IPs. I'd say the second challenge comes with respect to transitions, right? USAID as a mission and as an agency is constantly having staff transitions. We've had the privilege and the honor of having leadership that has quickly picked up this idea of collaborating, learning, and adapting, and in fact, interpreted it in new ways and challenged us to take it even further. At the same time, we've incorporated some onboarding and transition materials that enable new staff members to understand what is this all about, what does it mean to them, and just the very idea and the very labeling of CLA as something we believe has made a difference. It's provided both a mandate as well as permission to try these types of approaches, take on some risks, experience a little bit of failure, and that's okay because we're learning along the way as long as we do it fast and intentionally to pay attention to what's working and what's not. I think another recommendation I would provide is, again, to think about it within the business processes and embedding even small changes to build upon what the mission or what a particular bureau or group is already doing, and really try to magnify and amplify that which is already working in how a mission works and a particular mission's dynamics. In our case, there's a certain recipe that has been bringing together this idea into a reality, but I think that it's very important to have that tailored to wherever the particular mission, the particular team may be in their experience. That's where we are. As we look forward, we're looking at some more concrete tools, case studies, examples that we can share out with all of you, as well as with other missions. But we're also really interested in learning as other missions and other teams take on board this idea. So we look forward to hearing from you, hearing your questions, hearing your examples, and figuring out what comes next for CLA across the agency.